Hello everyone, welcome back to Code to Serve Academy. So in the last lecture, we covered about what is operator in Java, okay? And also we learned like how to take input in Java. So we are going to continue further of the chapter number 1 of ICSE 10. So in this lecture, we'll be dealing with some of the program that we have already covered the concept of taking input in Java, okay? So the first program is write a program to take input three numbers and print their sum of cubes. So you are being told like you have to take input three number and then you have to print the sum of this cube of all those numbers. Okay. So for this, first you have to take three number as an input. So to take input, you have to keep in mind like you have to first import scanner. So you already know where the scanner class is present. Scanner class is present inside the util package. So your first task will be to import that scanner. So let's quickly try to solve this program. Okay, so we'll write, okay, so we'll write first import import java dot util dot, this one is a capital S, so you have to write import java dot util dot scanner. All right, so after importing, like you can now give the name of the class. So let's quickly give the class name, class cube. All right, now here we write the public static void main. So I'm not writing the complete command, okay, complete syntax. I'm just writing the short form. So whenever you write in your exam, you write it in the complete form. So I'm writing in short form. PSVM means public static void main. You write whenever you write in your exam, write it in a complete sentence. Okay. So here we have string args. All right. Now let's move forward. Okay. So here, after that, what we are going to do, we are going to take input of three numbers. So first will be like, we will say int, int n1, comma, n2, comma, n3. So we'll be taking three numbers as an integer value, and then we will try to compute the cube of that number, and then we are going to find the sum of that number. All right. So let's like we have taken integer number. If the question is asked like the floating point is also allowed, if it is also not told like whether floating point is allowed or not allowed, so for a safer side, you can take as a floating number. So you can take as a floating number. As a question, in the question it is not given whether a number is as will be as a floating point or not. So for a safer side, we can take float over here. All right. So we have three number, you can take float, or also you can take what we say number as well, that is an integer value as well. Okay, just a second. Okay, so now what we'll do, like after declaring the variable, like what we'll do, we'll take the input. To take input, first we have to create the scanner object. To create the scanner object, we'll write scanner sc is equals to new scanner, and in this new scanner we are passing system.in. So we'll quickly write system.in. All right, now after creating the after creating this like variable like the object of the scanner with using this SC, now we can take input. Okay, so here we see like first we have to take input in N1, then in N2, then in N3. So what we'll say, N1 is equals to N1 is equals to SC dot next float. So in the last class, I already discussed like we have various methods available. Like for float, we can use next float. For integer, we can use next int. For double, we can use next double. So what we'll do, next float, and then what we'll get? We'll get the first number whatever user has entered. Then similarly we'll do for N2 as well, SC dot next int. Sorry, we have taken this as a float, so we'll write next float. Okay, and similarly for N3 we'll write SC dot next float. All right. So we have taken all the three numbers as an input, like a float variable. In the float variable, we have taken the input. Now what we'll do, first, we have to find the sum. And what sum we need? We need to find the sum of all the number by taking their cube. All right. So we'll learn further, like there is mathematic function available to find the cube. And for now, you don't know what is the mathematical function we have to find the cube. So for now, what we'll do, we will simply multiply the number 3 times. So in the later part, in the next slide, when I teach you about the mathematical function that we have, then you can replace that concept with that math function. All right. So we will say like we have taken as a float. So what will happen when you try to cube it, your answer will still be in float, that is in a decimal point. So what we'll say, float sum is equals to, we have to find N1 cube. So we are multiplying 3 times. All right. So when you learn, then in the next slide, when we learn, so we can write the same logic using math function. We can write like this, math.pow n1 comma 3. This means n1 to the power 3. Similarly, you can replace this one with this. All right. Now, next we have plus n2 into n2 into n2 plus n3 into n3 into n3. So we have found the required value. Now we have to give this value as an output. So what we can write, system dot out dot print ln, and we'll write here sum. All right. So this will be the closing for the main, and second closing will be for the class. So this was the complete program of the first question that was asked. So what I told you, like you can replace this with this. So as you have, for now we haven't covered this function. That is why I wrote using multiplying the number 3 times of itself. Okay. Now let's move forward with the next question that we have. Okay, so we had only one question in this part. Now let's learn about the expression. In the last lecture itself, I told you what is an expression. Okay, so expression in Java is any valid combination of operators. You have already learned about different types of operators supported in Java. And here, what is expression? Like anything, like any operators or any constant or variables, when they are combined together, that forms an expression. All right. So in the last lecture, we already learned about the postfix, prefix, and everything that in an expression form. So we'll move next. Like the expression can be arithmetic. That means only like arithmetic operations are present over here, or it can be a logical expression. like you have already learned about the logical operator in the last class. And similarly, we can have a compound expression, that means combination of both of them. All right, now let's move forward. So this is what I was talking you about, like in an expression, whenever you write an expression, there might be a situation, like in the last question what we saw, there was a situation that you have to find the value of the cube of a number. So suppose I tell you, you have to find the fifth power, or n to the power 5 or n to the power 10. You are not going to multiply that number 10 times. Instead of that, you will use some mathematical function that is already available in Java. Okay, so we'll learn about the few mathematic function that is available to us in Java. So what we have sine of x. So how we are going to use this function? First, we have to write math. So here what you see, like first we'll write math. Math is a class. So whenever you call a class, you have to keep in mind M should be in capital letter. So whatever class you use, like you have used in the last slide, like scanner. Scanner was a class, so starting character was with capital letter. Similarly, here math is a class. So for a class, you have to use capital letter, then you have to write math, then whatever method you want to use. So here we have first method available is sine. So what we do, dot if we do, then we pass the angle. Here x represent the angle, and whenever we pass that sign in the sine function, we pass the angle. So what we are going to get, the angle should be in radian. Okay, the function returns a sine of an angle in radian. So it will return you the, if you pass the value, then this function is going to return you the sine, that is the angle in the form of radian. So you already know to convert the angle into radian. You have already learned in mathematics how we can convert any angle into radian. All right. So we'll not be covering in that detail. And similarly, whatever you see over here, all the trigonometric function that you see, sine, cos, tan, all this directly if you use, what it will return? It will return the cosine of the angle in the form of radian. Got it? Similarly, we have a sine, a cos, a tan. So in this, what happens? Returns the angle whose value is y. So in this case, if you pass some value here y, so it will return you back in the form of angle. All right. So you can try all this. You can try all this method in your you can use this and practice this yourself and see what value you are getting. Okay, so once you try and practice this, you will get the concept what actually this method means or what output we are getting from this. All right, so you can see uh, all of the trigonometric method is available to us. Apart from that, now let's come forward with the pow function. So this was what I was talking about. So in the pow function, this actually means the power. So first we write the number. So here you see there is two parameters being passed. One is x and another one is y. So the first parameter what you pass over here means the value to which you have to raise the power with the second parameter. That means this is equivalent to x to the power y. So if you want to find the value of x to the power y, you will write math.pow x comma y. Similarly, you can see over here math.pow 3 comma 4. This means 3 to the power 4. So whatever value will be, it will return that value as an output. Okay. Now let's move forward. We have exp. Exp like returns the e raised to the power x. Suppose you want to find the value of e to the power x, then you are going to use math.exp, and in the function, that is the function call, you will write x, whatever power in the form power you want to calculate the value. Next we have log. Log of x, this returns the natural log. Okay, natural log of x. So if you pass this, so you will get the value of 5 as a natural log. Okay. Next, sqrt. So this function returns the square root of x. What I mean by this, like if you want to find the square root of any number, so in an expression, you want to, like, you have been given a mathematical expression in the form, like you are given in the question, like it is under root x, and you will be asked to convert the same into Java expression. So how you are going to write? You will write math.sqrt, and in that function you are going to pass x. All right. Similarly, we have ceil. So there is two concepts. One is a ceil and another one is a floor. You try to keep in mind like this way, that ceil is in the top, like ceil is in the top and floor is in the bottom. Got it? Like your ceiling is in the top and your floor is in the bottom. So we have two concept of, one is a ceil and one is a floor. So if suppose any number is present over here, let's suppose x is present, and you want to find the ceil of that number, then what I mean by this? So when I say ceil of this number, that means you have to go upward. That means suppose if I give you example of 4.5, or you take an example of 4.2, or take an example of 4.1. Let's make this as 4.6 as well. Okay, so suppose these are the number and I'm telling you to find the ceil or to find the floor of these numbers. So if we take 4.6, that means you have to go above that number. You have to go above that number and you have to return the nearest integer value that is available. So where you will go? You will go, this will result to 5. Similarly, 4.5 will also result to 5. That means you have to go up. Even the value, if it is 4.1, still the answer will be 5. And for 4.2, still the answer will be 5 in case of ceil. But if I tell you to find the value of 4.6 in case of floor, so you will get the result as 4. So even for 4.6 you will get 4, even for 4.5 you will get 4. That means like whatever value you pass, it will return you the lowest value than that number in the form of integer. All right. So all this value will correspond to this. Got my point? So here ceil returns the smallest whole number greater than or equal to that number. Got my point? What I was trying to explain you over here. Always it will return the greater number or equal to itself. Like you suppose you pass 5 over there, answer will still be 5. But in case of negative number, if you take an example of a negative number, suppose if I say you 4.5, I say you 4.5. Now I say you to find the floor of that number. So what will be the answer? This will not result to -5. So keep in mind. So whenever you get this type of question, you always think in the form of a number system. Okay, in the form of number system represented in the linear, means in a line. Okay, so suppose 4.5 lies over here. So what I told you in case of ceil, you will always get a greater number than the current number. So greater than 4.5 will be 3. All right. And less than 4.5 will be -5. This is -3. So if you are finding for a negative number, this will result to -3 in case of ceil. And in case of a floor, it will result to -5. So in negative number, it will reverse itself. Why? The concept remains the same. Like for any number x, it will always return a number greater than that number. So greater than 4.5 will be what? Greater than 4.5 will be, sorry, here it will be 4. Here it will be 4. Here it will be 4. So greater than 4.5 is 4. So whenever you try to find the ceil of 4.5, it will result to 4. And for 4.5, if you find the floor, it will result to -5. Both will be in minus. Okay. So I hope both the concept, one is ceil and one other one is a floor, is clear to you all. All right. Now let's move forward. I already told you about floor. All right. Now let's move forward with RINT. So this is round of integer. So you have to return the round of the integer value, like 17.99 will result into 18. You have to find the round of the number whatever is given. All right. So if the number is less than zero point 0.5, it will result to the lower number. Suppose if I take math.rint of 17.25. So this will result into 17. All right. So you have to find the round of that number. Similarly, we have ABS. ABS means the absolute value. So if you pass over here the negative number, the answer will be in positive. It will result to 17.9 in positive. All right. So next we have max. Suppose you have two number. If I give you two number, like suppose 10 and 100, and I will ask you which one is the max number, which one is the highest number. So what you will say? You will say 100. So suppose if you are given a program where you need to find the highest number out of the two number. All right. So what you can do? You can take two number as an input, and then you can apply this logic like math.max, and then you will get the maximum number, and you can store that number into a variable, and then you can output that variable. All right. So here let's have a quick look over here. Suppose you are given a two number, suppose n1 and n2. Suppose these two contains, one contains 10 and one contains 100. You don't know which variable contains the highest number. Now you need to find the highest number. So what you can do, int maximum is equals to, you can do math dot pow, not pow. Here we need to find the maximum of both the numbers. So we'll use a max function. So math dot max, and in max you will pass n1 comma n2. Now whatever user input, suppose in n1 user has entered 100 and n2 he has entered 10, so in result will again be 100. Okay, so in maximum it will still be 100. Suppose in the other case also, if n1 contains 10 and n2 contains 100, still the maximum variable will contain 100 in it, because we are using this max function. You are using this max function. All right. So I think here also mean is also there. Similar to max, we have min. So if you are asked to find the minimum of the two number that is given, so what you will write, math dot min, and you will pass a comma b to it. All right. The first number comma second number. It can be in any order. Even if you pass b comma a, still the result will be same. All right. Now let's move forward. So in the second type of expression, that is relational expression, here you see that the relational operators are used, like x greater than y, a not equals to b, this is a not equals to b, this is p double equals to r, p double equals to r. What it means, like if both the value are same, then it is going to return you true, else it is going to return false. All right. We already covered all this type of expression in the last lecture. Now, next one is a logical expression. So in the logical expression, like we use double and, or, so in the last lecture we already covered, like suppose there is a two values, like you want greater than 0 and less than 3 or less than 5. So you are going to use double and. All right. So if you want or, you can use or. If you want not also, you can use not in your expression. So here is one expression. If x greater than y and y is greater than z, then this condition is going to return true, else it will return false. All right. Now let's move forward. Next one is a Boolean expression. So in the Boolean expression, you see, like whatever the outcome will be, like here if you see, first expression is a plus b greater than equal to c. That means if the two values, suppose a is 10 and b is 20, the sum of both of them will be 30. So, and suppose the third variable is 30, so 30 is greater than equal to 30. So this part is true. All right. So suppose if I take A is equals to 10, B is equals to 20, and C is equals to 30, all right, and D is equals to 40. Suppose we are trying to evaluate for this particular value. So what A plus B means, A plus B always go from left to right, all right. So go from left to right. You see first A plus B will be calculated. A plus B means 20 plus 10 is 30 and greater than equals to C. That means it is greater than equal to C. This means like 30 is greater than equals to 30 or not. So this part, first this part will be evaluated. First this part will be evaluated and then this part will be evaluated. First this is evaluated, then C is less than 40 or not. That means 30 is less than 40 or not. 30 is less than 40 or not. So this part is also true and this part is also true. So you have already learned the truth table of AND. That means when both the condition is true, then only it will return true. All right. So whenever in your program you have to find anything like any logic where you need to check the values, based on that you have to perform some calculation, then you can use this type of Boolean expression. All right. Now let's move forward. We are now moving towards the conditional constructs. So in conditional constructs, first before that, you have to keep in mind, like when whatever program that you write, whether in Java or C++ or in other language, all the things are getting computed line by line, line by line. Suppose in the line number you have written something, in line number 2 you have written something, 3 you have written something, 4 you have to written something, and 6 you have written something. So whenever you write a program, first what will happen? First this line will be executed, then this line will be executed, then this line will be executed. Now, if you don't want this line to be executed, or if you want to execute that line based on some particular condition. Suppose if I say you, I only want to execute line number 3 only if the value, suppose here is one variable n2 is equals to 10. So if I say you, I only want to compute that statement 3 only if n2 is greater than, that is the value of n2 is greater than 20. If the value of n2 is not greater than 20, I am not going to execute the statement in line number 3. So what you can do for this type of scenario where you don't want to execute a particular piece of a code, or you want to execute a particular piece of code based on some logic, based on some condition, then we apply conditional construct. Okay, so here you see the condition. Here you see one syntax, like what how we write the conditional construct. In the if you have to write if, then you have to write the circular braces, and in the circular braces what I gave you here, like if n2 is greater than 10, sorry 20. So here you will check if n2 is greater than 20, then only whatever I was writing in statement 3 over there, statement 3, I will write after if block, after if block. So if you want multiple of lines to be executed based on the condition, multiple lines, then you need to give curly braces. Then you can write multiple line number 4 suppose, line number 5 suppose. If you want to only execute, only apply a condition to only one line, then you don't need to write the curly braces. So suppose if you write if, and whatever condition you write and without the curly braces, that means this if condition is applied to the immediate next line only. So this line will be either executed or this will not be executed. If this condition is true, then only this particular line will be executed. If it is not true, that particular line will not be executed. Got my point? So whenever you want multiple line to be inside if block, you give curly braces, and if you want only one line, then you don't give curly braces. All right. So similarly, if you want, like if this condition is false, then I want to compute or I want to execute some other statement, then you will write that logic inside the else block. All right. So it is not mandatory like every if block should have a else block. It is up to you. If you want only the if block, you can write only if, but you cannot directly write else. For else, it is always mandatory to write if. So else can only come if there is a if statement above that. So if there is only if statement, there is no it is not mandatory like you will write else also. It is up to you based on the scenario, based on the question, or based on what you are trying to achieve. All right, now let's move forward. So here we have one question: write a program that accepts a number in the range 1 to 99 and then display if the entered number is in a single digit or a double digit. I will give you 2 minutes. Try to quickly write the logic, not the complete program. Just try to write the logic of your own and try to write in the comment section that it is done. Then I can move forward. I'll give you 1 minute of time. Okay, now let's try to solve it quickly. So here you are told to take an input based on the range, like range is given 1 to 99. So what you will do, you'll write all those logic that we wrote in the last program, that you have to import first scanner, then you will write all those. So let's quickly write over here, like you'll first import java dot util dot scanner. Don't forget to write the semicolon over here. All right, next we write the class, like class, suppose we write check, then again public static void main string args. All right, now next, what was the question? We have to take input, write a program to accept a number in the range 1 to 99 and then display if the entered number is a single digit or a double digit. So it is very easy, it is straightforward. You have to take one number as an input. So suppose what you will do, take n1 as one variable. You declare it as n1 as an integer. Now what you do, we create the scanner object. Scanner sc is equals to new scanner, and in this we pass system dot in. All right, so after this, now using this object we'll be able to take input. All right, so what we'll write over here, n1 is equals to sc dot next int. All right, so we have taken one value as an integer. Now what we'll write, like range from 1 to 99, accept a number in the range 1 to 99 and display if the entered number is in single digit or double digit. Okay, so here we'll see, like if n1 is greater than 0, that is 1 is allowed up till 99. Okay, so if n1 is greater than 0 and n1 is less than 10. So if it is greater than 0 and if it is less than 10, that means whatever number we have entered is a single digit number. That okay. So you were told, like you can only say like whether it is a single digit or not, like when the value is greater than 0 and it is less than or equal to 9. All right. Okay. After this, so as we learned, like in the conditional construct, if you want to write a logic after if, so here we want only one line. So we don't need to write the curly braces. So directly we'll write system dot out dot print ln, and over here we will give the will display a message like the number is a single digit number. So we'll write over here single digit. So keep in mind, whenever you give an output, some message, so that message should be always be in a double quote, because this number, this value is in the form of a string. So in case of a string, you have to give it as a double quotation. Next, like if the this is not true, that means it will go to the else block, that is the false part. So we'll write over here else system dot out dot print ln, and you are going to pass double digit. All right. Next, we will close the main part and then we'll close the class part. All right. So it was very easy. Now let's move forward to the next part. We have conditional construct, it's the same topic that we were dealing. Here the question is, like a student is allowed to take an exam if he or she has attended at least 75% of the classes. So you are told, like suppose you are going to school and your school only allows you to give your exam if you have attended 75% of the total classes that was held during that academic session. All right. So 75% of the classes, write a program that calculate the attendance percent. So how much percent of class you attended, that you have to calculate, and then of a student obtaining the details. So what you have to take input here, you have to check like obtaining the details like total class held, total classes attended. Means in that academic session, whenever you see your result, in the bottom part of your result, there is one column, or there might not be a column, where it is told like in this academic session the total number of classes was 100, suppose, and you attended suppose 99 classes or 90 classes. So your total present classes and the total classes that was held in that academic session might be present in your report card. All right. So similarly, here it is told like if they any students have attended only 75% or at least 75%, that means 75% is allowed and beyond that is only allowed. Less than that is not allowed. Then only he is eligible to write the exam. All right. So what you will do? So you will take two number as an input, Now I'm not writing the complete logic. Now I'll write only the main part. All right. So here you see, like suppose we have a scanner object, scanner SC. In your exam, write the complete flow starting from the class. I'm just writing the logic over here. Main logic is equals to new scanner, and then we pass system dot n. All right. Then we'll take two number as an input, like int present and int total. That means total number of classes you were present and the total classes that was held. All right. So we'll take two number. So we'll write p is equals to sc dot next int. All right. Next one, t is equals to sc dot next int. So you keep in mind, like whatever the flow it was given, the first here it was given like total classes held and then total classes attended. So in the same order you try to take the input. Okay. So it was here it is being told total classes held. So let us take t as first input and then we'll take p as a second input. All right. Now over here you are told like you need to find the percentage of how many classes you attended. Okay, so you can say like the percentage can be in decimal. So whenever you try to compute the percentage type of question, you always take the next variable in which the value will be stored as a double or a float. So suppose you are taking as a double double percentage PER. So is this is equal to what you have to find the total percentage of class you attended. So you will write P divided by T, okay, P divided by T, and you want the result of this in the form of like decimal. So it is always advisable, like if this if the denominator part is in integer. So suppose if this is also integer, this is also integer, if this will get calculated, you might not get the decimal value. So for a safer side, always when the number, both the numerator and the denominator both are in integer, and you have to calculate it, and the result you wanted in double, that is double. So for a safer side, you multiply the denominator with 1.0. For a safer side, you multiply the denominator with 1.0. Now this t will become double, and whenever you divide with any integer with double, always your result will be in double. That means you will have the value in decimal point. Now with this, we will multiply with like suppose we want to find the percentage, how much percentage they attended the class. Okay, so whenever you divide by this, we are going to multiply with 100. So what will happen? Suppose we have 5 divided by, suppose there was 20 classes, take an example like 60 classes, and total 100 classes was held, you only attended 60 classes, then you will multiply with 100, that means 60% of the classes you have attended. Similarly, what we have done, this was the total number of classes you attended, this was the total number of classes that was held, and then we multiply this with 1.0 to convert this number into decimal form, and then we multiply the result with 100. Then we multiply the result with 100. So now we got the percentage. So here we will check if if the percentage that we got, the percentage is greater than or equal to 75. So if it is greater than or equal to 75, then only he or she is eligible. So you will write over here system dot out dot println eligible. Else you will write not eligible. Got it? So similarly, we'll close this main part and close this class part. I have not written the top section. You will write in your notebook or note copy. Okay. Next, we have write a program that calculates the area of these geometric shape like a triangle, rectangle, parallelogram, circle, and ellipse. So this is question. It is a homework for you. You try to solve this question in yourself, and if you are not getting the output, then you comment me. I'll give the complete code. Okay. Now let's move forward. So now we'll move forward with the iterative construct. Okay. So conditional construct, we learned it, how to apply a conditional construct, where we write the conditional construct, and why we write the conditional construct. You already got the answer. Now we are going forward with iterative construct. Suppose if I give you a task, like you have to write 100 times your name, like your name is Ayush. So you are going to write 100 times Ayush in your note copy or notebook, whatever I tell you to write. Okay, now suppose if you write Ayush 100 times, so it will take lot of time to write Ayush 100 times. Instead of that, what we can do here, the task is repeating. The task is getting repeated. So whenever there is a concept and wherever there you find like the repetition concept is coming, like there might be a repetition, some task is getting repeated, then you are going to use the concept of iterative construct in Java. All right. So what I mean by this, like suppose you want to print 100 times anything, or you want to calculate the similar task n number of times, then we are going to use iterative construct. So iterative construct mainly means the loop, that you are going to apply a loop and that loop will be executed based on the condition that you are writing. All right. So in Java, there is different, several types of loop. Okay. First one is for loop. Then we'll learn about while loop, and we have do while loop. So all this loop will be covering up in this lecture itself. So here you see the first the syntax of for loop. So for loop, like over here, first we write for, then we write the initializing expression. Initializing expression means like the counter variable that you are going to keep. Like suppose if I write over here int I is equals to 0. That means first initialization expression I am writing. One expression I am writing, that means I am initializing some variable in the first part of the for loop. Then in the second part, we have the test expression. Test expression means like up till when, like suppose this variable I is equals to 0 is present over here, up till when, that means how many times you want to run this loop. So you'll write the logic over here, the terminating condition, all right, or the test expression. So if I say I want to start from 0 and I want to go till 10, 10 is also allowed. All right. So you will write the second condition as I can be less than or equal to 10. All right. In the first part of for loop, you will initialize something, initialize some variable. You can initialize multiple variable. Int I equals to 0, j is equals to 1. You can initialize multiple variable in the first part. All right. And in the second part, you can write multiple of conditions. One condition is written like I should be less than or equal to 10. That means you are going to start from 0 and it will go 1, it will go 2, it will go 3, and when it reaches 10, the loop will be stopped. All right. Then in the third part, we write the update expression. Means like how you are going to update this value, like whatever you have initialized first. First you have written I equals to 0. Now you want to increment it or you want to decrement it in the next step. Like in the next step, you want to increment it or you want to decrement it. Here we want to increment it. So here we will write I plus plus. That means after each step or after each iteration, the value of I will be incremented by 1. Suppose you want to increment the value by 2, so you will write I is equals to I plus 2, or the short form of this is I plus is equals to 2. So here what will be the condition? After each iteration, by how much you are trying to increase the value. All right. Next over here, next over here is the body of the for loop. So whatever statement you write over here, so it will get executed that many number of times. So first have a look over here how the flow of for loop happens. First the control will come over here, then from here it will go to this part. This will go to the first initializing part, then it will go to the second part, that is a condition check or the test expression that we are writing. So first control will go to the first part, then it will go to the second part, and after that it will not go to the third part. Instead it will go inside the body of the for loop. So when every statement is executed, then after the last statement it will go over here. So this is first, second, then it will go inside, and after executing all the statement inside the for, it will go again back to the third part of the for loop. So this will be number 4. Again what happens from here? it will go to the condition check. It will go to the condition check. So again from here, 4, it will go to 5. 5 means again the step number 2. Now it will not go to step number 1. Step number 1 will only be one time. That means first it is going from here. Now you forget about this. And the remaining times it will loop around this particular portion. That means from here it will go to 1. From 1 it will go to 2. Then from 2 it will go inside the body of the for loop. And then from here it will go again to I++. It is a fourth part. And from I++, after incrementing the value, it will again check the condition whether still I need to go inside or I don't need to go inside the body. Suppose here the value was 10. After I++, the value became 10. Suppose the value was 10. After I++, this value of I became 11. Now the condition is false. If the condition is false, it will not go inside. So suppose if the condition is true, then it will go inside this, and this will be the sixth part. Okay, and suppose if the condition is false in the fifth part, it will come out and it will go next line after the for loop. It will execute the next line after the for loop. I hope for loop is pretty much clear to you. Now let's move forward with some, let's see like if we have any program. So here we have program based on iterative construct. Okay, here we have write a program to calculate and print the sum of the cube of odd numbers in the range 1 to 10. So you are told like all the odd numbers. Like what are the odd numbers? Like suppose first is a 1, then second is a 3. So all the odd number you have to take, and then you have to print the sum of those number cubes. So how you are going to write? So I'm not writing the complete flow. I'm writing from the main part, public static void main. So after that, I'm writing this logic. So you write the complete logic. I'm only writing the body of the main method. So here, what you will do, you have to calculate the cube, sum of all the cubes. So what you will do, similarly, you will create one variable sum. All right, and we'll initialize this. Default value of int is 0. So even though if you don't initialize that, still the value will be 0, but still we initialize here with 0. All right, now what we'll write for, and what we are told, you have to calculate and print the number ranging from 1 to 10. That means 1 is also allowed and 10 is also allowed. So you will write int I is equals to 1. So you are being told to start from 1. So you'll write int I equals to 1. I should be less than or equal to 10. Here it is being told up till 10. So you'll write I is equals to 1 and I less than equal to 10. And third, what you have to do? You have to increment the value. That is, first is 1, then second one is 2, third one is 3, up till 10. All right. So what we'll write here, we are going to write I plus plus. All right. So after writing this, what we will do, sum is equals to sum plus math.pow, and you have to write in, we already learned what the pow function is doing. Pow function is expecting one number and then the power, what power you want to raise to that number. So here we want to find the power of I comma 3. That means I to the power 3, cube of that number. Similarly, we have calculated the sum. So short form of this can be sum plus, you can also write this part, or you can write like this, sum plus is equals to math.pow I comma 3. Now you have calculated the sum, now you have to print the sum. Like you can print, I'm writing in the short form, you have to write complete system.out.println. I'm writing SOPLN. All right, and the sum. Okay, so whenever you write in your exam, don't write like this way, you'll get 0. You have to write system.out.println, and then you are going to print the sum variable. So you'll get the result, but here we made one mistake. The mistake was you were told to find the sum of the odd numbers, but whatever logic we have written, it will find the sum of the cube of all the number starting from 1 to 10. So what you can think, here you can just change a bit. Like you can say, I want to increase the number I plus is equals to 2. That means you want to increase the number by 2 times. Like the starting number was 1, starting number was 1. After this, you want to take 2 jump. Like 1 plus 2 will be 3. Then from 3, you want plus 2 again. This will land into 5. So you can change the logic over here, or inside the for loop, you can write a condition like if I modulus 2 double equals to 0, then I am going to do like this. So this is also true. And the second part, if you apply a logic, if I modulus 2 double equals to 0, then I'm not going to find anything. If not equals to 0, then I'm going to find the sum of the cubes. So this will also result the same answer. That logic will also result the same answer. All right. So let's move forward with the next part. Next, we have write a program that displays the sum of all the number entered by the user. The program should keep taking input until a 0 is entered. That means you have to allow the user to input n number of numbers until 0 is entered. So for this type of question, like for this type of question, first you need to know what is while loop. So first we covered for loop. Next, first you need to know what is while loop. So let us have a look over here, the syntax of while loop. So here we write while, and then we write the condition. We write the condition, and then we write the body of while. All right, and then we close it. So here, if you see in the for part, in the for loop, what is happening in the for loop itself, we were writing the three part. Like first was the initialization, second was increment decrement, third second was condition check, and the third was increment and decrement. Here we only write the condition part. Inside the while, we only write the condition part, and above this we write the initializing part. So every loop that you write should contain three parts. First one is the initialization of the any variable, second might be the condition, always the condition should be present, and third should be your increment or decrement. So in case of while, increment or decrement is done before this loop, before starting this loop, increment or decrement is done. And inside the body of this loop, initialization is done above, and here the condition is written, and inside this increment or decrement is done. So suppose you write anything and you miss to write the increment or decrement inside this will lead to infinite loop. That means that loop is never going to end. All right. So let us, so hope you will be able to try, you can give a try of yourself, but still I'm showing you quickly, like write a program to display the sum of all the numbers entered by the user, and the program should keep taking until 0 is entered by the user. All right. So for this type of question, you can either use while or you can use do while also. So here I will give you an example of do while and while as well. So let us quickly see over here. So in do while, what we do, like in while, first we write the condition. So this is entry control loop. So when we are entering, then we are checking the condition. So this is entry control loop. So this is entry control loop. And for do while, do while, do while, we write the condition over here. This means, like, this means suppose your condition was false initially. I'll give you an example. Have a look. So the syntax is different. Here in the while, first we write the condition. That means this is a entry control loop. And here in do while, we write the condition at the end. That is, it is an exit control loop. So suppose when you initialize one number int n with 10. All right. So if I say you, if this n is greater than 10, until this number is greater than 10 or until this number is greater than 0. Suppose I give you the logic, until this number is greater than 0, you always execute this part. You always execute this part. But suppose this number itself is -1. Suppose this number itself is -1. So this becomes false. So this loop will not execute, even it will not execute for once. It will never execute. It will never get executed. All right. But in case of do while, even though your condition is false, still it will run once. Why? It will first enter into the loop, it will do all the task that is being done, and then it will check the condition. Then it will check the condition. Then it will check the condition. But whenever the difference comes in your question, like what is the difference between while and do while, you can write multiple points. First point should be it is an entry control loop, and this one is a exit control loop. And the second point that you can write over there is like this one, even the condition is false, even the condition is false, in this case it will run at least once, and if the condition is false, it will never run. All right. So this was the two main basic difference. So here you have to decide which loop you have to take for this type of question. So for this type of question, you don't know like the question that is coming, that the input that is coming with the user entered as 0 or not. So suppose if you write do while over here, if you write do while over here and the first number that user inputted 0, then your program will run at least once. But that shouldn't be allowed. So in that case, you are not going to use do while, instead you are going to use while. All right, so let's quickly solve over here. So you will say, you will create the scanner. I'm writing only the main part. Scanner sc is equals to new scanner, and then over here we pass system dot n. All right, so over here we created the object of scanner. Then what we are going to do, uh, let's have a look once again. So you have to display the sum of all the numbers until, means the program should keep taking until 0 is entered. All right. So for this type of question where you don't know how many times it will run, so you should use while, either while or do while. So based on the condition, based on the question that is asked, you can decide which loop you have to take. So here, if you take for loop, it will be difficult for you to write the terminating condition. Okay, so what we'll say, we will say int will say first time we will take one input, first time we will take some input. All right, so we'll say int n is equals to sc dot next int. All right, so we were asked to find the sum of all the numbers. All right, so what we'll do, we'll write one create one sum int sum, and this sum is equals to, initially this will be equal to 0 n. So suppose in the first number you entered was 0, so your sum will be 0 and you don't need to execute the while part. So over here we'll write while n not equals to 0, while n not equals to 0. That means suppose first user entered n and that n was suppose 0. So this part will not get executed. All right. So over here, what we can do, while n not equals to 0, so we are telling some, first we found this, means for the first time, you have to take the input in the outer part, then whatever logic you write, n not equals to 0, if it is not equals to 0, then what you have to do, you have to find the sum. So you can say over here, you already initialize that value with n. All right. So what you will say, like if n not equals to 0, suppose, then what we do, we take the next number as an input. All right, we take the next number as an input. We say int n is equals to, we have already declared n, so we are not going to declare it again. So we'll say n is equals to sc dot next int. All right. So here sc dot next int, we again took the input. But over here you have to see, like in this part, after taking the input, again this will go up and you will check like whether the number that was entered in the last time was 0 or not. All right. So here you can write one condition. Here we can write one condition, like if the sum was, suppose n was 0, then it will not go inside this part. That means still your sum will be 0. So you keep initialize this with 0 first, not with n. Why? Because here again we need to find the sum. So we'll say sum is equals to sum plus n. So now suppose you take an example, if suppose n was 5 and some value was 0. So here, over here what will happen? Sum is equals to 0 plus 5. So the result will be stored in sum. Now suppose this number is still 0 and you have already initialized that number with 0, and this part will not get executed, and now over here if you write system.out.println sum, so still 0 will be printed. All right. Now what we do, we have written the loop. So what will happen? It will go n number of times. It will take the input. N number of times it is going to take the input. And once user has entered 0, as soon as it has entered 0, suppose the 5 number is 5, 10, 20, 30, and as soon as 0 is entered by the user, program will terminate over there, and whatever the value was entered, the sum of all the value will be calculated. So we'll write at the end system.out.println, and what we are going to write here, we are going to write sum. So this is a closing for the main part, and you will close the class part also. So this was a straightforward where you have to take, you don't know the terminating condition, but you need to find all the some of those values based on some particular condition. All right. So if you try to write the for loop, it will be bit difficult for you to write the for loop. All right. Still over here also we can write like for the infinite loop you'll create, and you'll check one condition, and if that condition is true, then we are going to apply a break over there. So we'll learn about the break also. Okay, now let's move forward. All right. So this I already covered you, like what is do while loop. So do while loop I have already told you, like do is like first we write the do, then we write the curly braces, then we give the statements, and at the end we write the condition. So this is an exit control loop. All right. Next. So over here, based on the iterative construct, again we have a problem. Right, write the program that inputs maximum 5 number and stop if the 5 number has been entered or user has entered 0. So here one extra condition is added over here, and it also prints the count of non-zero number entered by the user. So here they are trying to tell you, like you have to print the total number of non-zero. So you have to take only 5 number as an input. So you can only allow 5 number, you can only take 5 number from the user, and as soon as, so here it is telling write a program to input maximum of 5 number and stop if 5 number has been entered or user has entered 0. Suppose you entered 20, you entered 10, then you entered 0, then you need to terminate your program. So here you need to write two conditions. First, you have to create a counter variable which will keep a count of the number of times your program has been executed. That counter variable should count to 5. That means you are starting from 1 and you are going till, suppose you are starting from 1, you are going till 5. So you will check whether the count variable is 1, and if the count variable reaches 5, you will terminate the program. Or the user that is entering n, so user suppose is entering the value in the variable n, you will check if n double equals to 0, then also you are going to terminate the condition. So you try it yourself. Here I am writing just the logic, what logic you are going to write. So you are telling, while suppose you create one variable int count is equals to 1, and you are telling over here, and you are telling like you need to take an input how many times you have to take an input 5 times. So you can write logic like here. You can first time you can input one number, you can take one number as an input before the loop itself. So you can write int n is equals to sc dot next int. All right, so you took input of one number. All right, so you have to also calculate, print the write a program that inputs maximum 5 number and stops the number, and print the count of non-zero number. So you have to print how many non-zero numbers were entered by the user. All right, so what you are going to do now, if you write while part, if you write over while loop over here, while, so you have already taken one input. So you have already taken one input. So you will check if you have already taken one input. So if c is greater than equal to 4, because you have already taken one input over here, so you will check while c is greater than equal to 4, or so both conditions should be matched, then only you are allowed to go inside the loop. So here, what will be the concept? And concept. So this condition should also be true, and n should not be equal to 0. If n is equal to 0, then you have to terminate the program. So that is why I'm telling, until n is not equals to 0, I'm going to run this part. All right, so what you can write over here, you can count the non-zero number. You can count the non-zero number. So you can again create one variable, or in the same part you can give comma, like over here it was 1, and you can give none nz, non-zero is equals to 0. So here you took one number as an input, here you took one number as an input. Suppose it was 0, then again the output of nz will be 0. So what you will do, here you will increase the nz, you will say nz plus plus, you will say nz plus plus. So what will happen, so this condition will run if until and unless user enters 0, or until you have taken 5 number as an input. If before this loop you have taken one number as an input, so here you will apply the condition while c is greater than equal to 4. All right, and this n0 will be calculated. So how many times this loop executed? So here after this line you are going to write sopln nz. So you are going to write sopln nz. Got it? So this was the logic. How you have to write the program. So similar to this logic, you have to solve maximum number of program. Then you will get concept how you can approach to any problem. If, until and unless you solve n number of problems, n number of programs, you are not going to get the concept. All right. Now let's move forward. Here the program is write a program that inputs maximum 10 number, but it stop as soon as 4 even numbers have been entered. So similarly, based on the last concept, you can write the same logic. Here you have to write one extra logic, and here you have to check if the 4 even numbers were entered, then you have to stop. And if 4 even number are not encountered, then you have to proceed. All right. So I think you will be able to write the problem. And in the next lecture, we will be covering the nested loop, and in that portion, we'll be covering the pattern printing. So next lecture will be the last lecture of chapter 1. Then we will be moving forward with the next topic. Okay. So if you have any doubt, do comment it in the comment box. I'll try to give the answer of all your queries. Okay. Thank you.